You can call us whatever you want, Joe. You can call us extremists. You can call us domestic terrorists. You know who else was called a lot of names his whole life? Jesus. And he never stopped. He never stopped. They called him names right up until his death. So why should we care what Joe Biden thinks of us?
Honestly, I gotta respect it. That's amazing. You know who else was called a lot of names? The Lord and Savior. Okay, I guess. You know who else has been called a lot of names? Me. I've been called Johnny Pie and Dragon Daddy and DJ Lunchbox. And you know who else was called a lot of names? Jesus Christ, superstar.
It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection. But if our lawmakers have protection.
Oh, that's a good one. I get it. Her house isn't protected and her husband's skull was bashed in with a hammer. Do you get it, everyone? It's funny because her house wasn't protected from the right-wing crazies. And so her husband was almost murdered with a hammer. He may never recover. He's still in the hospital right now. Do you get it? The host loved it. He was covering his face, giggling at how funny it was. The crowd loved it too. It was funny that Paul Pelosi almost was murdered. So look, here's why I wanted to play this for you. They are spreading all of these conspiracy theories about the attack. So their first attempt to dissuade you from thinking about this in a serious way was to say, well, this is just an instance of crime. Isn't it sad there's so much crime? Then they said, you don't have to worry about this because gay or something, I don't know. And they purport to believe all of those things, but let's be clear. Once you get past all of that, they're going to clearly demonstrate that they don't care. This is not about some alternate theory. They just genuinely think it's funny.
I'm a true believer that if MLK, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. were alive today, if JFK were alive today, if our founding fathers were alive today, they would be America First Republicans. I really believe that.
Her theory there is that every historic figure, I guess, would not only be a Republican, but would be an active supporter of Donald J. Trump. And in particular, Martin Luther King Jr. would just love Donald Trump and his movement, his white supremacist, hateful, give every resource our country has ever produced to the rich movement. I guess I haven't really studied MLK in like an academic context, so I guess I can't say whether that's consistent with his ideology. A.B., what do you think?
That is not consistent with his ideology, right? When Martin Luther, and this is
I suspected as much.
This is the funny part with y'all MAGA Republicans, right? Is because you assume when you say American first, again, you keep out a group of Americans that you don't like. When it comes to America first, it doesn't just mean white Americans, affluent white Americans, affluent white men, right? You have to include all Americans who are now citizens, right? So let's be real. Like black people is the only people on this earth that's actually legally free, right? Legally Americans. Like there's more than just white people that are Americans. And so what you are saying is that Dr. Martin Luther King's theory that everyone should be created equal, that everyone should have equal rights, that everyone should be able to vote, right? That everyone should have access to healthcare, and that we should love one another would be in alignment with your ideology that we should keep people out from voting. We shouldn't allow immigrants to come into our country, right? We shouldn't tax the wealthy to make it fair for other people. We shouldn't make education accessible to other people. We shouldn't teach about other people's gender preferences. We shouldn't teach about other people's sexual orientations, right? You like that is not in alignment with his theory.